The truth sets you free. With the world's fastest reader, Howard Stephen Berg. Hi everyone, Howard Berg, world's fastest reader, and welcome to another show. As always, we want to thank our sponsor this week, and it's Gloria Cowan, our Sunday school teacher, and she's at the Hillcrest Baptist Church. Gloria's contact information is 972-227-6453. And can you please show? Yes, she does in-depth study of the books of the Bible, searching for theological meaning with practical application for daily living. Daily notes, there's notes provided, and I've been creating a website for her. You can check it out at gloriacowan.com. And Dr. Sugg and I are friends with her, and she's giving me all of her Sunday school videos, and I put them online for her. So if you haven't been able to get to this church, you can still watch some of her sermons online. I think you'll enjoy them. So take advantage of that. It's Hillcrest Baptist Church or gloriacowan.com to watch the videos online. Well, as always, I like to start off each lesson with a little learning tip. I thought today I'd do something on memory. Because a lot of times people will say you read fast, you remember anything. And I'm going to just do a simple memory technique. I think you may have seen this, but it's very powerful. I'm going to give you 10 things to remember and then show you how to remember it backwards and forwards instantly. You want to remember pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. If you're a normal person, you don't know the list, but in just 3 minutes, you'll know it backwards and forwards. And the Greeks discovered this. When you want to learn a list, if you take a list you know already, like the numbers from 1 to 10 that you know, and associate it with the new items, you can quickly learn the new list. Let's do it. A 1 looks like a pole. So when I say 1, you say pole. Ready? 1. Pole. Thank you. We can do this together.
All right.
And we go to 2 is shoes. What's 2?
Shoes.
Shoes. And 1?
Pole.
Perfect. 3 is a tricycle. How many wheels are on a tricycle?
3.
3. So what's 3?
Tricycle.
2.
Shoes.
1.
Pole.
Perfect. 4 is a car. How many tires are on a car?
4.
4 is car. What was 2? 2.
2 is shoes.
1.
Pole.
3.
Tricycle.
You're getting smarter. 5 is a glove.
I don't like this game.
5. You're almost there. 5 is a glove. How many fingers in a glove?
5.
What's 5?
Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Getting it. 6 gun. They love them in Texas. 6 gun. What's 6?
Gun.
4.
Car.
2.
Shoes.
Perfect. You're almost there. 7 is lucky in dice, so 7 is dice. What's 7?
Dice.
What was 5?
5. Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Excellent. Rhymes work. Say 8 skate.
8 skate.
What's 8?
Skate.
What do they live in Texas? 6.
6 gun.
4.
Car.
2.
Shoes.
Perfect. We're almost there. How many lives does a cat have?
7.
Cat.
9.
9. So lucky cat. 9. Yours had a couple of accidents.
Yeah.
9 is the cat. So what's 9?
Cat.
What was 7 lucky in?
Dice.
5.
Glove.
3.
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Last one. 10 bowling pins in a lane. What's 10?
Bowling pins.
What's 1?
Pole.
2.
Shoes.
3.
Tricycle.
4.
Car.
5.
Glove.
6. Texas.
Gun.
Lucky 7.
Dice.
8 rhymes with
Skate.
9.
9. Lives. Cat.
A cat. And 10.
Bowling pin.
Perfect. Give yourself a big hand.
All right, good.
Did you get it? So that's how you learn it. Now here's how to use it. Your child's learning geometry. They're learning the value of pi to measure a circle is 3.14. No one remembers it, so you make a movie. 3 is a tricycle, 1 is a pole, 4 is a car. Tricycle hits a pole on a car. Picture that. Tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number?
4.
Tricycle.
3.
Hits a pole.
1.
On a car.
4.
That's pi.
Okay.
And now you know how to learn dates in high school and science and math constants, product numbers at work, due dates. It's a mnemonic. It's very easy to use. 10 is the 0. The 10 bowling pins is the 0. Now, speaking of learning and learning well, we have a very special man today, Jeffrey Flam. Thank you. He's an expert at reading and learning, and he has a wonderful program called IQ. Can you maybe share with us the history of IQ to get started?
Yeah, IQ was actually developed in Japan about 40 years ago. And I found it back in 1996, 20 years ago. And when I tried it, it made a huge difference in my life because I was never a good reader. And so once I tried it, I went from reading 170 words a minute up to 800 and soon above 1,000. So when I saw it, I thought, we really need this for not just me, but for my family.
The normal reading speed is 150 to 400. So he's at 1,000, which is 2.5 times the normal speed. That's an amazing accomplishment
Right.
in such a short time.
And with higher comprehension, that's the key too. Right.
I just wanted people to appreciate what those numbers represented. They sound good, but they're even better than they sound.
Right, right.
Yeah. What's unique about IQ? What makes it different?
Well, there's a lot of programs out there to help pace people and teach them to read faster. What's different about IQ is it's really brain training. So it's high-speed imaging. You start with words and then images, and it goes back and forth until it gets the whole brain to fire. And once you have the whole brain firing, you learn much faster, and it teaches you go much faster. So instead of reading one word at a time, we learn to read concepts. Much easier to remember 10 concepts on a page than 360 words. So it's changing the way we read and assimilate information.
Excellent. And we certainly need that today. I think there's a 50% dropout rate in four-year college and 70% in two-year college, and those are the ones who graduated high school, and not many are doing that anymore either. So we need more tools like this. This is why I had you here today to tell people there is a solution. One of the things I really loved about your program is they can start very young. How young do you start them?
We start as soon as a child can read, so usually at age 2.
Very
and
young.
It's grade specific, so when they sign up based on their grade level, and then the content's appropriate and the speed's to their grade level.
So then they would have different opportunities to do the program as they mature and their skills get better. You could offer them another level to be able to...
Well, the program's actually dynamic. Every time you do it, it tests your reading speed, and then, because every day it can be different depending on how much you slept, if you ate well, had the right nutrition.
Sure.
So some days your brain's firing faster and the program's dynamic. So it's going to fire and it's going to have pace you based on your abilities that day.
Okay.
So as you progress, the program progresses automatically.
That's nice. So it grows with you.
It's individualized.
Okay. It's like weightlifting. You're starting at a light weight and eventually your muscles get stronger.
Exactly.
Excellent. So we call this brain training.
Brain training.
Why do we call it brain training? What's the reason behind that?
Well, as I mentioned, we've had actually 2 scientific studies done, one at Caltech in Pasadena and the other one at University of Utah with 30 kids. And they have them come in and read and do an fMRI and actually watch what's happening in the brain.
Do you tell them what an fMRI is?
Yes, it's a functional MRI. So it's actually tracking what's firing in the brain. So it's very live and very real. And you can see that the brain has very little firing when you read, the Broca's area. So it's a very small area.
That's the area that comprehends words normally.
Right. It's the language center of the brain. But after they've used IQ for 8 weeks, they have them come in and read again, and the whole brain's firing from top to bottom, left to right. So 15 times more brain function after using the program for 8 weeks, and it only takes 7 minutes a day. So it's a life-changing program.
And that's amazing. And then what's happening is if you're using more of your brain, you're going to learn more. You're going to understand it better, and you'll be better able to find it later on when you need it.
That's exactly right. We measure not just speed, but comprehension as well. And later we go into typing and measure typing speed. And so you watch not just your reading speed go up, but typing as well. And those are your 2 most important functions once you even finish school and get out in the workforce. Those are the things you do every day. You're constantly at the computer, emails, typing. So we improve the skills that help you in your everyday life.
I know we mentioned some of the scientific studies. I've actually seen some pictures of the brains and how they lit up. And you're seeing like this little tiny circle before, and then afterward, just seeing splotches everywhere in different regions of the brain. Have there been other studies as well that you may have done? Perhaps you could share with us some of the students that have taken it and some of the schools you've offered it and some of the results they've seen as a result of using the program.
That's what's, I think, most compelling about the program is when I go to a education conference or trade show and we have a booth there, people come and talk to me and say, well, how are you different? And I said, you can walk around all of these booths and you will not find anyone who guarantees the results of their product, financially guarantees it. That if your students don't double on their effectiveness, we give a free license to another student. How can we do that? Because it works for everyone. Whether they're a slow learner, doing really well in school, gifted, talented, even if they're an ESL, which is English Second Language student, they're going to be learning much faster because they're using a lot more of the brain. So we'll see the kids that are English language learners will raise their test scores usually 30% or more in just 10 weeks. But on average, it's usually somewhere between 21 and 25% higher scores on their national tests. And it's not just reading. I mean, we're talking science, math, literacy. All of those things are going to go up substantially.
Because reading is the linchpin. And when you read better and you understand better, you're going to do better on content as well.
Exactly. And I think my mission, I think, is really to help everyone learn to read much better. Why? With higher education, we're quickly moving to online learning. So most students, it doesn't matter what college you go to, some of your classes are going to be online. That changes it from being a passive learner, which is having a professor up there showing you slides, working on the blackboard, teaching you, showing you videos, and you're learning as he teaches you, okay, he or she. Now, it's up to you. You have to read every single word and learn everything yourself. Now, what if you have a question? You can write a professor an email, and it's guaranteed. They promise they'll respond within 24 hours. That makes it difficult if you're in the middle of an assignment and in your study and you're stumped. Well, that's the nice thing about IQ is once we teach people to read really well, all of a sudden online learning is easy. But the problem we're having with online learning is half of the kids almost drop out in the first year. Most schools are experiencing 30–40% of the kids can't do it. And what happens if they paid $3,000 or more tuition and they bomb? Or what's the chance they're going to fork out $3,000 again and do it? So we've not just lost a student for that year in school, we've probably lost them to higher education.
And the parent has something to look forward to. They'll live with them till they're 40.
That's right. The parents can support them.
Lucky parent.
And that's what's happening.
That is exactly what's happening. And of course, I see another benefit. Because these kids are learning better, I mean, going to college is no longer a guarantee of employment. I still think it's very important. There are more opportunities for college grads than anyone else. But that alone won't get you a better paying job. But having this ability to learn,
right,
and learn new things that you need to know quickly will allow you to learn the new skills you need to make a living, even if it wasn't what you originally was studying. So wouldn't you think that would be another big benefit?
Absolutely. Once we're out of school, it's interesting. 95% of what we read at work is not new to us. So why are we reading slowly? And the average person, when Howard was talking about that ranges between 100 and something and 400. But what we've found, because we've got thousands and thousands of people online doing it, so I know exactly what the averages are by age. But the average person's reading at 220 words a minute. People go, why? 90% of the people are reading between 200 and 250. Why? Well, it's because people have learned to read vocally, one word at a time, sitting on their mother's lap. And guess what? No one's taught them to do differently. So they still read at the speed they speak.
Yes.
And until we teach people to read differently, conceptually instead of subvocally, they're always going to read at that speed. So our goal is to get people to learn to read faster, because in the workplace, education isn't going to help you once you're in the workplace, because every day you're learning new things. The world's changing. And I tell CEOs, if you're not reading a book a week, you're going to be left behind, because everything is changing so fast.
Every 6 months, information doubles. So you're 100% right.
Doubles on the internet every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
And there's almost 5 billion people now in the world that have access to the internet. They're looking for information. But there's so much there, you'll have thousands of hits. So if you're reading really slowly, you're not going to find very much information.
No. And that's also one reason they do poorly on tests. This test is designed so if you're reading slowly, you don't finish. So even though they may have the intellect to do much better on the test, if they didn't get to the questions they could answer them, their scores will be substandard, even though they could have had a very good score had they just gone a little quicker with understanding.
Yeah, that's so true. In fact, yesterday I was at the airport getting ready to fly out here, and I was sitting by a young man, and he asked what I did, and I told him, and he said, man, I sure could have used that. He said, I had a 4.0 in high school, and when I took the ACT test, I got 21 out of 36. He said, to get a scholarship, you've got to be above 30. He said, I was devastated because here I was the top student in my school on GPA, and I got a terrible score. Well, I explained to him, Dr. Kawamoto, the founder of IQ in Japan, he's found through his studies that what happens is tests are timed for good readers. And if you're a very slow reader, you're not going to get through. And so over half of the students on a test aren't going to get through the test. They're going to be guessing on a lot of it. And what happens, they've found, is if you look at the first of the test, a student like this 4.0 student probably did pretty well. But once he looked at his watch and looked at how much of the test he had finished, he realized, I'm running out of time. I'm not going to finish. The minute anxiety sets in, your ability to recall information drops substantially. So from that point on in the test, his scores are going to be lower. Why? Adrenaline's released into the blood. That's the fight or flight serum. Okay, so now the blood's rushing to the muscles instead of the brain. So you are in a sheer panic. And so that's why you don't do well in the test, you're guessing. So after we have them 8 weeks on IQ, have them go back and take the test, they'll usually raise their score between 20 and 25% higher.
Which is the difference between the scholarship and the not.
Right.
For that young
Costs
man.
very little, takes very little time. In a couple months, at 7 minutes a day, they can raise their score substantially, and that could mean the difference between $50,000 in scholarship money.
So the program didn't cost them anything if that's the case.
Huge ROI, return on investment,
Huge,
right?
Huge. Plus, again, they don't live with you till they're 40.
They might make it on their own.
Every parent's
Yeah.
dream. So test scores improve. We talked a little about online learning, but who benefits from IQ? Can you give us examples? Is this just for kids? Is this for adults? Is it for seniors? Who are some of the people, and what are some of the benefits to these different people?
Actually, Howard, I think everyone benefits from it. Now in Japan, Dr. Kawamoto starts them at age 5. But because some of it's reading, we start them at 2nd grade once a child can read. And it's all age specific and reading level specific. So it will feed them based on their education level. But older people, we did a test with 30 people. Half of them had Parkinson's. And they were in their 70s and 80s. And we tested them on their memory, their math skills, and their reading and comprehension. And it doubled in 8 weeks after using IQ for people in their 70s and 80s. Why? Again, it's getting all those neural connections firing. So actually 2 weeks ago, we had a visitor come to our office from San Francisco. He's with a leading firm doing research on Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And he said, we're developing drugs, but we're also looking for programs and products that can help keep those neural connections strong.
Stimulated, yes.
And it's those cognitive skills. They tell you, do crossword puzzles, read,
Cards.
do something that's active, card games. Watching TV doesn't do it.
No.
So anyway, so he's looking, and he said, as we looked at all programs out there, yours is the only one that's scientifically proven that it gets the whole brain firing. So we see that this could really slow down the progression of this disease.
Interesting.
Will it stop it? No. Can it slow down the progression? Absolutely. So if you can have quality of life into your 70s and 80s before it really takes over, makes a huge difference in your life. So when we say who does it benefit? Benefits English language learners. It benefits older people.
ESL people then.
Yes, ESL. But the thing that I notice is when we put it in schools, we'll have the top students and the bottom students. We measure everybody before and after. Everybody goes up. The kids that are already reading well go way, way up. So who benefits? Everyone that uses the program. So the key is consistency, right? Like anything. Piano, going to the gym, anything, it's consistency is the key.
There's 2 studies you might find useful for what you when you're talking to people. The Baltimore and Seattle longitudinal studies on aging pretty much said what you said, that they studied octogenarians, people in their 80s, and people in their 80s who read had a much lower onset of dementia and Alzheimer. It was both. Wasn't it cured it, but it postponed
Right.
it. And
Slows
so
it down.
I would
progression.
I would think it would be amazing. I know you've done brain scans. It'd probably be interesting to see some scans on these older people before and after. That would be quite interesting to see.
Right. I know the University of Utah that conducted our study with 30 kids, half of them were autistic and half were normal learners out of the 30, 15 of each. And what they found is it increased brain function of the autistic children just as much as it did the normal learners.
That's big.
So the University of Utah, Dr. Jeffrey Anderson said, we would like to go out and apply for a $2 million grant and do a study on 1,000 early onset Alzheimer's patients because we think it'll substantially slow down the disease.
Very, very exciting. It's got to be fun to be able to do something so wonderful to help people who need so much. I mean, it's such a horrible diagnosis to get. It's like, you're going to lose your personality.
Right.
And to have something that could slow that down and give them more quality time, there's a saying in Hebrew, it's a mitzvah. It's like a good deed. It's
mitzvah,
the word is mitzvah. It's a good deed.
Well, we all know somebody, either a parent or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, that's had dementia or Alzheimer's, and it's tough. It's tough to watch them.
My aunt, yeah, she doesn't know where she is.
And sometimes they don't even have the same personality. A whole different personality comes out. So when you see that, you don't want to be there, right? Yourself.
No. Especially if it's a close relative, because, as you know, there is a genetic link to that. Fortunately, that wasn't a close relative, it's an aunt, but I have 3 cousins, and I can't help thinking they look at that and say, what's going to be my future? There's a very high probability one of the 3 will have to go through that as well. So something like this would be beneficial to them. So I'm glad that you're doing that research. I could see you're really passionate. Can you share a little about what made you this passionate?
Well, first of all, I think it changed my life. I had lazy eye as a kid, so they patched my eye for several years in school. I couldn't really read. And when I learned to read, this side wasn't in focus, so I'd get a headache after about 10 minutes of reading. So I had never read a full book, even though I was CEO of a big company that I sold a few years ago with 1,400 employees. Yeah, it did really well, and yet I had never read really a full book. So I had to use other talents to succeed. But once I got so that I could read well without headaches, and by the way, this is eye training, so it fixes eye problems. We have 27 of the biggest eye vision centers in the country that use it to fix tracking problems. Kids that can't read correctly, it fixes that. Dyslexia, I had a kid at a conference sit next to me, and when he found out I was the president of Infinite Mind, he said, "Isn't that the company that has IQ?" And I said, "It is." He said, "My dad bought that for me when I was in high school because I'm dyslexic. I couldn't read correctly." And he said, "So I didn't think I was going to graduate from high school. After your program, I went on, got my undergraduate degree, and then got my master's degree, and now I'm an analyst at Price Waterhouse."
Nice.
And so, here just randomly I meet somebody who it's totally changed their life. And the letters I get from people, that's why I do this, is it's all about changing lives, improving lives. Can it improve it? Yeah, for kids that are struggling. And statistics show that 1 out of 5 children now has some type of a learning disability, either reading or an eye disability that's hurting them in school. And so parents, 1 out of 5 parents have got to be concerned about those kids. What can I do to help my child succeed in school and in life? And this is one of those tools we have to help those kinds of kids.
That's amazing. I see that deep brain training increases blood circulation to the brain. What's the overall effect of doing that, and how does your program help bring that about?
Well, as I said, the functional MRI that got the brain firing, it's measured through oxygen in the brain. That's how it tracks it. Blood flow is how you measure the oxygen. Yeah. So when the whole brain's firing, you've got lots of oxygen in the brain, and that's what makes it fire and work so well. And with IQ, after just 7 minutes, we show 15 times the brain function. So it really brings you to life. So I tell people, do it before you do your homework, or do it before you read a book, and you'll be twice as effective.
Well, I see you also do stuff with ADHD. Can you talk a little about that?
Well, I've got ADHD. I didn't realize I did until later. Somebody said, "Oh, you're a classic example of somebody with ADHD." But the interesting thing is they say most entrepreneurs have a certain level of ADHD.
Yes.
They're very creative, but they don't like to stay with something very long. They get bored easily. Well, why does IQ help someone with ADHD? If you're reading slowly and you have ADHD, you cannot read books. You don't like to read. It's too boring to you. Your mind's just going everywhere.
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. Your mind's just off, the first distraction, right? And once you learn to read quickly, you can keep your focus. And an ADHD person, I can't even say it because I'm talking too fast.
Squirrel.
That's one thing. That's one thing about IQ. It does make you think faster and talk faster. But it helps you stay focused, which is really key for anybody with that kind of an issue.
Absolutely. My experience has been most of the super wealthy people I've met have been ADHD.
Right.
If they harness that, it's a superpower and not a deficit.
Right.
Well, we're coming to the end. I wanted to give people some information how to reach you, how to get this program. You want to give them how they could get IQ and start using it and try it for their families?
Yeah. I'll spell it out because when you hear it, you think just IQ, but it's spelled EYEQ because it's eye training. So it's eye-brain connection. We're strengthening the eye-brain connection. So EYEQ is how you can find it on Google. But our actual website is infinitemind.io.
And remember .io because
Right.
many people will look at .com.
Right.
.io.
Exactly.
Very important. And I see you have an email, Clint at Infinite Mind. Is it .io or is it just Clint at Infinite Mind?
Infinitemind.io.
.io. Okay, excellent. Please take the time, get in touch, try it. Yes, I teach reading also, but when people are trying to do better for the world and help people, there's no competitors. Someone buys a recipe book for desserts. Does that mean they'll never buy another book of desserts? They wouldn't try another dessert? I think we have different approaches to what we do and some overlap, and people could benefit from using
From
both.
absolutely.
They'll get the best of both worlds, like the best of the two dessert books.
That's
And
right.
people,
Exactly.
when you want to make a better world, you don't see competition. You see opportunity to help people and make a difference. And speaking of making a difference, if you'd like to reach me, you can call me at 214-952-9150. I'd be happy to do a free consultation for you, your family, your company. Let's see how I can help you. And you could email me at mrreader@msn.com, or you can go to my website, hbspeedreading.com. And one of the things I'm going to be offering in the future will be IQ, because they offer some things to people that I don't offer, and I saw the opportunity right away to help some of the people asking for that kind of program. I usually work with kids from 6th grade and up, and you work with much younger students. And when a parent says to me, can you help my 5-year-old? Now I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
I have a tool I can definitely use that's been proven to work, and I can be very happy knowing that it's got a great track record. It's been scientifically validated like my program, and it's going to make a difference in their kids' lives. So speaking of making a difference, we're almost out of time. Remember, you can contact me with any suggestions for a program, or if you'd like to be a guest on the program. I'm always looking for interesting people to speak to. So this is HBerg. Until next time, I want to wish you and yours the best of success. And I'll see you on the next show. Bye for now. The truth sets you free. With the world's fastest reader, Howard Stephen Berg.